Hello, I am the Holy Coder, bringing you the whole code and nothing but the code. In this video, I will continue working on the RecApp application, working on the weigh-in module, specifically the create in the CRUD. So I had some issues, and all I'm going to do is just work through those issues until I'm able to create a new weigh-in without accessing the database directly. Let's dive in. All right, here's our code. This is the index page in the weigh-in view. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going here in the browser and I'm just refreshing just to make sure that the page loads correctly. As you can see, there's dynamic functionality on the select elements, which allows me to select the particular item in the menu. And once the form is submitted, then the value is transferred to the script and allow us to add to the database. So I am going to, if I look at the index view, I see I have 3 weigh-ins that are recorded. And I have the same person here. Competition ID is the same. So this is the same person, the same competition, the same team. The only difference is it's 3 different weeks. So what I want to do is I want to add another competitor for the same competition for a different team for weeks 1, 2, and 3. So that's what I'm looking to do. So I'm going to attempt to add a weight here. Competitor 2 is going to be the second person, same competition, second team, first week, some weight. I'm going to say 165, 4.8, and I'm going to attempt to weigh in, add the weigh in. So as you can see, it's a undefined variable ID in the weigh-ins controller on line 32. So I'm going to go to the weigh-ins controller on line 32, and this ID is saying it's saying that it's undefined because the params should have been passed in, but there was no ID that was passed in. So obviously it's something wrong with this. The create parameter, it should be add weigh in. I'm thinking add weigh in, and it should be params. I mean, I'm thinking what happened was I copied this method from another place and didn't change it. So here I am changing it. So I'm going to look in the weigh-in model to see if there is in fact an add weigh-in method. So weigh-in here, looking for add weigh-in method. Thinking that should be at the top because I just recently changed all these to alphabetical order, which makes things a little bit easier. So add weigh-in. So it shouldn't be add weigh-in because obviously all of these fields are not set yet. So it might be create weigh-in, and there is no create weigh-in. So I think that's the issue. I think I need a create weigh-in. Yes. So I'm going to create a method called create weigh-in here because create table, create T, create W. So that will be here. Okay, so now I create weigh-in, public function, create weigh-in. And that's basically where I pass the params. Oops, be nice to know how to spell correctly. And then this is where I set my variables parameters of the object. So the params that I need to pass, I'm going to go to the create page to get them because everything is set up right here. These are the params that I need. So I'm just going to copy this over to the weigh-in. I'm going to pop this in right here just so I can see it and then erase it when I'm done. All right. So basically I need competitor ID, competition ID, team ID, week ID, and weight. And if we look up here, competitor ID, competition ID, team ID, week ID, and weight. So we have all of our fields that we need, okay? So I'm just going to add these parameters. And so the competitor ID is going to be equal to params array, and it's going to be competitor ID. And all the rest of these are going to be similar. So I'm just going to copy this 4 more times. And then the second one is going to be competitor ID, excuse me, competition ID. So I'm going to change that to competition. The next one is going to be team. And then the last one is going to be weight. Then I'm going to tidy things up a bit. Now, if I go to the weigh-ins controller, it says add weigh-in. So I need to make that create weigh-in. And then after I do the create weigh-in here, I go back to the weigh-in module. And after I set all these parameters, then I'm going to call add weigh-in. Which is here. Then I should be able to do nothing because as you can see, this says add weigh-in, right? I have my query, but then I'm not calling it anywhere. That's interesting. So I need to call the query. So I'm going to use the process query method that I created, and I'm going to pass the query through there, and that should do it. I'm hoping that should do it. Save everything. So let's go back to the page. I really want to refresh that. Let me see. Yes, I'm going to do that. Okay, unexpected competitor ID, weigh-in 74. Ah, ha! I gotta erase all of this. Forgot about that. All right. That makes sense for the error. I had that there so I can be able to see what I was working with and never erased it. See, I told you I was going to erase it, but I just forgot to do it. So let's just go back. I'm going to refresh this page. I'm going to input. Well, let me just check the database just to make sure that it's not there. So if I say select all from weigh-ins, it's still not there. Only thing I have is a 3 weigh-in 1, 3, and 4. And if I go to index, weigh-in 1, 3, and 4. So everything is still pretty much the same. I'm going to add a weigh-in, second competitor, first competition, second team, first week, 167.2, add weigh-in. Now, it went to the create page. Now, I don't know what happened because this create page is not a page that would be seen. The create page is basically the page where everything happens. So it should have taken me back to the index to see the list of all the weigh-ins. So it's probably the redirect is not there, or it may not have worked. So let's just look at what the code did. So on the new page, we have our fields, we have our action that sends us to create.php. So when the button, submit button, where is it? Submit button, here you go. When this submit button is pressed, it's going to send all of the data in this form, and the submit button is going to have an ID or a key that says add weigh-in. And so when I go to the create page, then it's going to check and see if the add weigh-in is set. If it's set, then it's going to load the config file. And then it's going to create a new controller called weigh-ins controller. Then the array will be filled with these items, the params array, and then the controller create. So guess what? It didn't work because I really, where is it? In my weigh-ins controller. Oh yeah, it ran the create method here, and this weigh-in, create weigh-in, is run from here. So the create weigh-in method is ran, parameters are ran through. These parameters should be set, and then after they're set, then we should be adding a weigh-in here. That did not happen. Process query. That did not happen. So we have to trace this to see what happened. So it appears that my code is correct, because this create weigh-in here should have set all the variables to the object. So if I go back to the create page here, the first thing I want to do is check out my params array, see if all of my data is coming in. That's the first thing I'm going to do. That's my first checkpoint. So I'm going to do a pre-wrap, and I'm going to place in the pre-wrap params. And the pre-wrap is basically a custom function that I created. So I have to keep doing pre-tags around the stuff that I want to see to make it look pretty, because it doesn't look good when you just do it without when you just echo things without the pre-wrap. So that's my first checkpoint. So when I try to insert a record, a new weigh-in, when I go to this create page, I should see what's in the array. So let's check that out. So I'm going to go back, same thing. Once I hit the submit button, let's see what happens. So here's all the data in the array, but let's look and see here. Oh, there it is. It entered. I don't know what happened. Maybe I need to refresh something. Look at that. It entered. Look at that. Everything worked. I don't know what happened, but apparently I must not have refreshed or something. But you see, there is the data that I just inputted. And if I go to the index page, there it is right there. So everything worked. So let me go back and tidy things up here. I don't know. I guess must not have refreshed, but I was wondering why it didn't work, but it worked, praise God. So I just basically commented out the pre-wrap. So, and then in addition to that, I'm going to go to my controller, and then I'm going to do a redirect, because after this has been created, we need to redirect. We're going to redirect to the index. That's going to take us back to the weigh-in index, so we can see that it was added. So I'm going to save that, I'm going to go back. I'm going to refresh. I'm going to add the 2 other weigh-ins. So add weigh-in. So we're going to do the second competitor, the first competition, the second team, the second week, and a weight. Enter, and there's the next weight right there. And then we're going to do the third one for the third week. So the second person, the first competition, the second team, the third week, and then the weight. All right, there we go. I am pretty pleased that the create on the CRUD has been completed for the weigh-ins module. I am the Holy Coder, bringing you the whole code and nothing but the code. Until next time.